For the banks and the institutions active in the financial markets, the UK's exit from the EU is far from being ticked off. Rather, it feels like a hard Brexit, said Andreas Krautscheit, Managing Director of the Association of German Banks, at the annual conference with journalists. By the way, I'm trying to set up my channel towards live streams in the future. If you want to support that, have a look on my community tab on my last post. There you can see what you can do. I'm saying this because many people have asked me recently how they can support my channel. But let's get going. Although the future economic and trade relations between the EU and Great Britain were contractually regulated shortly before the Brexit, which took place at the turn of the year, the financial sector of all things was left out. The financial centre of London plays an outstanding role for banks, including those based in continental Europe. For example, London is the most important location for Deutsche Bank after its headquarters in Frankfurt, because this is where the investment bankers who are crucial for earnings are at home. So it's not surprising when General Manager Krautscheit calls for the most generous possible solution in favor of London in the negotiations that are now beginning for an agreement on financial services. After all, Deutsche Bank is the most important contributor to the banking association, and its CEO Christian Sewing will take over the office of bank president from Hans-Walter Peters on April 19th on Bank Day. Krautscheit spoke out in favor of a large number of equivalent solutions. This means that the British regulations are recognized as equivalent to the continental European ones. This means that London-based institutes can continue to offer their services in the EU. But there are concerns that Great Britain wants to strengthen its financial centre and therefore introduce more generous supervisory rules. The financial centre of London contributes around 7% to Great Britain's annual economic output. In addition, the principle of equivalence is not comparable to the EU passports that were valid before Brexit. Because these related to significantly more products, the equivalence rules can also be cancelled by the EU Commission at any time, especially if London relaxes the reins on banks, and that within 30 days. The British supervision is not a dumping supervision, said Krautscheit. But the latest statements by the governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, suggests that impatience is growing in London too. It's better to forego full access to the EU market after Brexit than to be degraded to the rule taker, he said at the beginning of January. According to Bailey, Great Britain has already made 17 equivalence decisions for institutions from the EU, while conversely, it's not even a handful of a total of 40 topics. Krautscheit fears that many shops and services could become more expensive if there is no solution for the broadest possible market access. The EU Stock Exchange and Securities Regulator ESMA is also tightening the reins. It has now warned banks and fund managers not to use tricks to circumvent the new requirements that do apply after Brexit. And to be honest, I absolutely disagree with Krautscheit there, of course. The EU has to have a very close look where they make these equivalence decisions, and definitely do not give the UK banks all the services access they had before. Clearance will be there for 18 months, we all know this. It's necessary, but after that we will see what happens to clearance, to clearing. And I'm quite sure European continental banks will be able to do a lot there that time. And on the rest, when a government tells you all the time about a Singapore on the Thames, I would limit banking access a lot. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Viel Spaß!